Horses crashing everywhere. Adrian Adams doesn't care. Horses crashing everywhere. Adrian Adams doesn't care. Horses crashing everywhere. Adrian Adams doesn't care. Horses crashing everywhere. Adrian Adams doesn't care.
Okay, one other chant we could do is protect people, protect horses, pass Ryder's law. Protect
people, protect horses, pass Ryder's law. Protect people, protect horses, pass Ryder's law. Protect people, protect horses, pass Ryder's law. Protect people, protect horses, pass Ryder's law. Protect people, protect horses, pass Ryder's law. Protect people, protect horses, pass Ryder's law.
Okay. So we still have a few other elected officials on the way, but I think we want to start because it looks like it's 1 o'clock. And I just want to thank everyone for coming out. We're here because last week...
Could you stand in front of the mic? Yeah, that's... I forgot about the mic.
Am I in your way? Tell me if I'm in.
No, my camera's
We are here calling out Speaker Adrian Adams for single-handedly blocking a hearing and blocking Ryder's law, which would prevent deadly runaway horse crashes, horses dropping dead, the public nearly being trampled over and over again as these horses run wild in the park and on the streets. We are demanding that the Speaker do the right thing. This is what New Yorkers want. This is what the Central Park Conservancy wants. We want these horses out of harm's way to protect New Yorkers, to protect tourists, to protect these animals that are dropping dead. 2,000-pound horses running wild, coming within a split second of killing people in the park. This has to end. So I'm going to introduce the prime sponsor of Ryder's Law, Councilmember Robert Holden.
Thank you, Anita. Thank you, everyone, for coming again. Once again, we keep doing this. We feel like we're spinning our wheels. But when you have a speaker that's not willing to listen, and it's either her way or the highway, I have a problem with that. I have a big problem with that the committee, the health committee, won't even have a hearing on this. And the committee chair could call a hearing based on the consensus of the members of that committee. So why haven't we had a hearing on such an important issue? If the council's not going to care about public safety, they certainly don't care about horses, but if they're not going to care about public safety, and they haven't, even with my e-bike bill, that hasn't really gone anywhere. Why? These are the major issues that we have in this city right now, but the horses have already demonstrated, the horse carriages for that matter, have demonstrated that it's unsafe in Central Park. We've seen it. How many times? What does it take? Like somebody getting killed, I guess that's what it takes, for people to listen. So I have a huge sour taste in my mouth over this last council, the last 4 years, that we can't get bills heard because one person doesn't like it. So, that person is Adrian Adams. I just want to say that person is certainly the Speaker of the City Council who is blocking any progress on not only this bill, but major bills, major animal rights bills. I have the rodeo bill that will ban rodeos and at least
Bull riding.
The bull riding, the calf roping. That certainly is really torturing animals. But this is happening every day. So we have to wake up. I also have bills on, very, very important bills, on a lot of animal rights issues that won't get heard. The food pantry bill, that people won't give up their animals, their pets. And that should be heard, and that should actually get passed quickly, but it's not. So there's a lot of bills that we have a problem with, but certainly Ryder's Law should be heard and should be passed in this council. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We could have Councilmember Eric Botcher.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much. We're seeing a change in public opinion on this issue. We're seeing a change in public opinion because people are seeing with their own eyes horses out of control in the park. They see what happened with Ryder and Lady. The Central Park Conservancy is now saying very clearly that they believe that this industry, as it is not compatible with the uses in the park. It's a dense environment. All the people we saw with the horse carriage that ran amok the other day, how dangerous it could be. It's not the horse's fault. The horse is scared. It just illustrates the concern that the Central Park Conservancy has. So I'm very angry that come to the table, come up with a way to transition out of these horse-drawn carriages. We've got to pass this legislation. We've got to pass this legislation. I'm really hopeful that we'll be able to do it, that the momentum is building. And so let's go forward and pass Ryder's law.
Maybe we'll do a little chant. Pass Ryder's law.
Pass Ryder's law. Pass Ryder's law. Pass Ryder's law. Pass Ryder's law. Pass Ryder's law. Pass Ryder's law. Pass Ryder's law. Pass Ryder's law. Pass Ryder's law. Pass Ryder's law. Pass Ryder's law. Pass Ryder's law. Pass Ryder's law. Pass Ryder's law. Pass Ryder's law. Pass Ryder's law.
All right, next up we have Ashley Byrne. Kita has been one of our strongest allies on this issue and actually put up a billboard right on the street where a lady dropped dead last month. He's going to talk about a letter Edie Falco wrote to the speaker.
Thanks to everyone who today. Thank you so much, members Holden and Botcher, for continuing to advocate for the horses. It is shameful that Ryder's Law has been waiting for a hearing for 3 years. And in that time, countless horses have swooped and bolted through the park or in our city streets. For this summer alone, horses have dropped dead on the street, like Lady did in August. Horses have been reporting to us constantly with lameness, being ill, all kinds of mistreatment. And still, Adrian Adams is blocking the hearing for this law that over 70% of New Yorkers supported before Lady's death. Just going to repeat that. Over 70% of New Yorkers wanted a ban on horse-drawn carriages, and that was before the gruesome spectacle of Lady dropping dead in the street. We know that Speaker Adams has heard from tens of thousands of our supporters. We signed a petition on our website just last week after the most recent horse that we know of broke loose and ran through Central Park, violently crashing and miraculously not killing, but only by a stroke of luck. Edie Falco, prominent New Yorker, sent a letter to Adrian Adams that reflects the feelings of so many New Yorkers, imploring her for the sake of compassion, safety, animal welfare, to simply allow a hearing for Ryder's Law. This is long overdue. One more horse dying is unacceptable. Waiting for a crash that kills a person, a child, is unacceptable. New Yorkers have spoken. Over 70% of them want Ryder's Law passed. Over 70% of New Yorkers want a ban on horse-drawn carriages. And it's undemocratic to prevent, at the very least, a hearing where we can discuss why that is the case and why this is so necessary. So again, thank you everyone. We're not going away. We will not stop until horse-drawn carriages are banned from the streets of New York City and the horses are safe. Thank you.
We have a couple other speakers, but just to give more details on how terrifying and traumatic this recent runaway horse disaster was in the park, we spoke to several witnesses, one of whom relayed the story that as this horse took off, a 2,000-pound horse, completely out of control, rampaging, running over metal signs, took off the road onto the grass. It was a beautiful day, there were families, there was a baby shower party happening. This rampaging horse took off towards a pregnant woman having the baby shower lying on the grass. She got up within a split second of being trampled, and so did so many others in that car. Passengers in that carriage had to jump out for their lives. Is Adrienne Adams waiting for people to be dead in our parks, for people to be dead on public streets before she stops blocking the common sense legislation that would protect New Yorkers, that would protect these horses from abuse? Is she waiting for human deaths? That's the only conclusion we can come to anymore. Oh, the horse. We also have Michael Petrelli, a horse trainer with the Equine Advocacy Alliance. Oh, I'm sorry I didn't see you there. Councilmember Frank Morano, thank you for joining us. Councilmember Morano is a new council member, but has been extremely helpful and supportive of pushing for passenger riders' law. So we want to give him the mic.
Thank you. I appreciate the work that you're doing. I appreciate everybody being here. I am Frank Morano, city councilman from Staten Island. I'm a Republican, but this is a total bipartisan, it's really a nonpartisan issue. And I'm here to say that it's not a left-wing or a right-wing thing to say that we need to pass Ryder's law. You have had now 4 serious incidents just in one summer. And unfortunately, this was all completely predictable. This is what happens when you add 1,000-pound animals, 2,000-pound animals, even more so, 2,000-pound animals with 42 million park visitors and innumerable amounts of traffic congestion. It is a recipe for disaster. People frame this as an animal rights issue, and it certainly is. Animals have been hurt repeatedly now, and it seems like there's nothing to be done to keep them from being hurt in the future. But it's also a human issue. You have a situation where humans are being hurt. This is a danger to motorists, horses, drivers, and passengers. Why? Why? This is the 21st century. We don't have telegraph operators anymore, and there's no need for us to continue this antiquated method of entertaining tourists. Other cities have made similar transitions, and there's no reason we can't make a transition with Ryder's law that makes provisions for preserving the jobs of people affected. But to say that we should continue this barbaric and antiquated practice because we've always done it, well, we don't treat people who have strep throat with leeches anymore, and we shouldn't be doing this anymore either. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilmember. I know there's some other elected officials coming, but maybe we could pivot to a horse expert, Michael Petrelli, who's been a horse trainer for most of his life, working with horses for over 40 years. He's been, for the past few years, investigating and documenting the condition, the appalling condition of these horses on the streets for the past few years.
As a horseman, I can tell you it's embarrassing to see what I see in the streets of New York City going at parades. In this man's district, quite a long time ago.
I'm very proud of that.
Yeah.
First time I've ever prepared a statement because this is directed to one individual who's going to be crossing that street or in that building. This is the Speaker Adams and the members of the City Council. My name is Michael Petrelli of Equine Advocacy Alliance. I've been around horses my entire life. From Staten Island to Goshen, New York. I'm a horse trainer, been around training horses for over 40 years of harness race. One thing I know of horses, I'm here today to ask, actually plead with you, Speaker Adams, stop blocking Ryder's law. Stop burying your heads in the sand, because if you don't act, It's only a matter of time before someone gets killed. Mr. Morano just said. It doesn't take a genius to predict the future. You just have to look at their past. When that happens, the blood will be on the city's hands. You've been warned. Conservancy warned you. We've warned you for years, and it's happened. When that happens, just look at what happened on Labor Day. A 5-year-old mare named Bambi, green and untested, means she's never seen anything but grass and farmland. Sit into the city of New York and Manhattan on the streets. And even worse, in training, in the words of Christina Hansen, carriage horse driver and shop steward for TWU Local 100, actually admits that they put a horse in training on the streets of New York. Both are loose in the park and hitched to a carriage with 3 passengers. The drivers jumped out, knowing they were in trouble, but neglected to keep control of the horse. They dropped the lines, the driving lines. They leave them over what they call the dashboard. From the second that they let go of those lines, and when they tried to get that horse's head, she was loose. They left terrified people sitting in that carriage. She took off. That was your wake-up call. If you ignore it, shame on you, Speaker and City Council. Let me tell you straight, day one, every horseman learns you never, ever, ever drop the driving lines unless someone has control of the animal, meaning at their head, holding them, especially with members of the public, tourists, residents of this city, anybody, human beings in the carriage with no one in control. You never abandon your horse, and that's exactly what these so-called professionals did. And then their own spokesperson, Christina Hansen, admits that the horse is still in training. Think about that. You're taking an untested animal through the chaos of Middletown to crowded Central Park, paying passengers on board. That's not just bad judgment, that's reckless malpractice and negligence. And that's going to be on the city, not them. You know what's going on. There has to be accountability, and this isn't an isolated screw-up. For years of investigating, documenting, exposing the inhumane conditions of these horses in Central Park, Manhattan Island. Horses that are lame, underweight, broken down, beaten up, should never be on these streets. Ever. They know it when they leave the stable in the morning. But they are every single day because this industry has no real safety protocols, no standards, just a business model that squeezes every dollar out of these animals until they collapse. All the regulation in the world means nothing when the rules are neither obeyed nor enforced. You've been warned by the Conservancy. You've been warned by horse experts. You've been warned by everyone who cares. I'm warning you again. Stop ignoring this. Deal with it before it's too late. It's 2025. This is dangerous, dated racket. Ryder's Law needs to pass, in fact, fast-track, co-sponsored, and passed into law before your luck runs out. People die.
Thank you. Very powerful. Let's do another chant of protect people, protect horses, pass Ryder's Law.
Protect people, protect horses, pass Ryder's Law. Protect people, protect horses, pass Ryder's Law. Protect people, protect horses, pass Ryder's Law. Protect people, protect horses, pass Ryder's Law. Protect people, protect horses, pass Ryder's Law. Protect people, protect horses, pass Ryder's Law.
The Adrian Adams one. Horses crashing everywhere. Adrian Adams doesn't care.
Horses crashing everywhere. Adrian Adams doesn't care. Horses crashing everywhere. Adrian Adams doesn't care. Horses crashing everywhere. Adrian Adams doesn't care.
Just want to say we're very grateful that Councilmember Christopher Marte, and speaking of a council member who is not doing the right thing and running City Hall in an undemocratic, petty way, Councilmember Christopher Marte is running to be the next speaker, and he would change all that. He's going to make it a fair, just system where it's not a high school game of who likes who and who's going to get money and not, or whose bills are not going to pass. So we're very grateful for Councilmember Marte's support. He's going to say a few words.
Yeah. Thank you for the intro. You pretty much took what I was going to say, but if you talk to almost every council member in City Hall, they will tell you that this is wrong, right? And if we lived in a true democracy, that means the majority of the council will love to pass Ryder law. And that's why we're here today, to make sure that no horse has to go through the treatment that we've seen in Central Park for ages. We live in a time where we can't allow this to happen, where you see not only the dangers of cyclists right next to horses, cars right next to horses, horses not given water, falling on the ground and dying. This must end. And so I want to thank Bob, I want to thank Frank, I want to thank Eric Bocher, our great colleagues who have been fighting on the forefront, but I want to thank the advocates who have been here from day one, making sure that their voices are heard and you guys bring justice to New York City. Thank you.
Thank you. Just want to ask for everyone, you know, people keep asking us, what else can advocates do? What else can New Yorkers do to help get this passed besides just calling their council?
Well, you guys are making this a story, right? We have not only a mayoral election coming up in November, but we have a speaker race that's going to really take fold right after that, and making this one of the top issues.
Yes.
And understanding where candidates are on this issues are going to be crucial, because most New Yorkers are on your side.
Yes.
And the more you make this public, the more they have to be responsible and held accountable. And so that's what you guys are doing the right thing today.
Thank you. We're waiting for at least one other elected official, but do any of the media have any questions directed to any of us? Donnie.
I'm happy to talk. A question or?
Right. Well, I'd actually like to bring on Donnie Moss, who's a filmmaker who did the first ever documentary delving into the horse carriage issue, looking at both sides of the issue. It's called Blinders. Thank you. The truth behind the tradition, but it's going to come forward to.
Thank you. In 2008, I made a documentary film called Blinders, The Truth Behind the Tradition, that educated New Yorkers about what really goes on behind the scenes. And what struck me most is that two large animal vets, equine vets, stated unequivocally that certain conditions in New York City cannot be corrected in a way that would make the operation of horse-drawn carriages humane or safe. There's no amount of regulation that can make the operation of this industry humane or safe. For instance, horses are grazing animals, and New York City has no pasture where the horses can graze, run, roll, and interact physically as herd animals do. They've been stripped of the ability to do anything that comes naturally to them, so that a small industry that could easily evolve can make a buck. Horses are prey animals. They're not predators. When a horse spooks and bolts down a busy street with pedestrians and motorists and bicyclists, he or she becomes a weapon. And we've seen over the years so many horses crash into trees, crash into other cars, and die as a result of the stimuli in New York City that simply aren't going to go away. The blinders that truly curb their vision don't block all of the stimuli that can spook a horse. Something as simple as a feather flying by can spook a horse. No regulation can prevent feathers from flying through the streets. The only solution is to take these horses and carriages off the streets of New York City and to take these horses out of harm's way.
Horses crashing everywhere.
Adrian Adams doesn't care. Horses crashing everywhere. Adrian Adams doesn't care. Horses crashing everywhere. Adrian Adams doesn't care. Horses crashing everywhere. Adrian Adams doesn't care. Horses crashing everywhere. Adrian Adams doesn't care. Horses crashing everywhere. Adrian Adams doesn't care. Horses crashing everywhere.
For everyone everyone who has their phone today, make a call. Keep calling her office, 718-206-2068. Keep calling, keep emailing. There's only so long that she can keep blocking this. As New Yorkers, tourists are put in danger every single day. Horses are dropping dead. The Central Park Conservancy, which manages the park, it wants those horse carriages out of there. They don't want to wait until visitors to the park are killed. They don't want to wait until more horses drop dead. The only person who wants to wait and keep blocking the bill that would protect New Yorkers and animals is Speaker Adrienne Adams. And we are not going to stop calling her out. We have a little over 3 months left to pass this legislation, and we could do that. We could easily do that if she got out of the way and stopped blocking this bill that the overwhelming majority of New Yorkers want. There is simply no excuse any longer for her to keep blocking this. It's undemocratic. It's reckless, it's government malpractice. When we have an answer to a solution that would protect everyone in the park, everyone in Midtown, it would prevent these horses from being abused and killed. And one person back there in City Hall is single-handedly blocking it. Who thinks this is wrong? Yeah.
Pass Ryder's Law!
Yeah.
Pass Ryder's Law! 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 Pass Ryder's Pass Ryder's Law! 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 Pass Ryder's Law!
Yeah, I think the only other speaker, we were waiting for Assembly Member Harvey Epstein. Not sure when he's going to be coming, but if anyone has any questions, we're happy to answer. Yeah.
What reason does she give? Does she give one?
She doesn't.
No.
She doesn't even give one. We know the reason is because Transport Workers Union is lobbying against this. They give money to Adrienne Adams and other elected officials, so it's a situation where it's political corruption.
Yeah.
Instead of doing the right thing to protect the people of this city, to do what New Yorkers want, she's doing the bidding of a union boss who made a deal with wealthy carriage horse owners who don't give a crap about the people of this city, or tourists, their own passengers, or their own horses. So that's the reason. It's
Yeah,
union
good
corruption.
figure. Yeah. No legitimate reason.
No, but
No.
unfortunately,
Yeah.
corruption is a big problem
Yeah, yeah.
in our city, as a lot of New Yorkers are familiar with. That's the reason behind this. But we can't, we have to push past that because really lives are on the line, obviously. Can't keep coming just within a split second of people being trampled by a 2,000-pound horse. And it does seem like that is what
They're
she's
waiting for.
for people to actually have to be killed instead of just nearly being killed. And that is heartbreaking. We don't want to wait for that. There's already been so much violence, including this horse lady who dropped dead just weeks ago. This is going to keep happening because, as Donnie Moss, the filmmaker, said, horses are prey animals. Their hardwired instinct is to run when they're scared. And we've seen horses that have spooked and ran wild just from an umbrella opening, from people making noise, from something going by them, or an unfamiliar sound or noise. Look at where they are. They're in Midtown Manhattan. The blinders don't prevent all of that. They hear these things. Horses are very sensitive animals. Do you want to add?
I want to add to it as a horseman.
Right, yeah, go ahead. Come in and answer.
Serious. Because this is what I what I saw from the video as a horseman, what people don't understand, why that escalated so quickly is most of these driving horses, we do it too, right? Wear blind bridles. When something like that happens, drivers are gone, something set her off, they've gone from, this is Christina Hansen herself, from it was a loud, noisy garbage truck who was being aggressive, who then first, last week, on the record said that somebody may have driven into them, hit the carriage with the garbage truck, then on the record on WEAI, is that what it was the other day?
Yes.
Radio. Says, well, it was very close, grinding its gears, they're going to file a lawsuit against the park, which is laughable. And then in her own admission says the reason they had two drivers, who they say one was a veteran, with this mare was because she was untrained and green. They knew that this could be an issue, yet they still put people in the carriage. They vacated the carriage, left the lines up in the carriage, she's gone. Now, when you have blinders on a horse, now she's loose. She's scaring herself. You got a carriage bouncing around behind you. You can see that the harness is starting to tear away. That just escalates and increases the issue even more. That mare is running away from herself. Horses don't know what a carriage is. I've trained race horses. They don't know what a race, but we condition them to accept these things. And so as a horseman, you have to understand that anything can happen. So you do everything you can to prevent that from happening. That's good horsemanship and taking the safety of the people in New York City in their hands, not just in the carriage, but on the streets. This woman who was on the grass in her baby shower. It should never happen. Again, reiterate that the city knows now. At what point the next time it happens, what if the worst does happen? It's on the city. So, when you have people that are so inept, not only should they not be allowed to be licensed to operate because it is a privilege, I keep trying to remind people, it's not a right, it's a privilege, no different than us, it's a race horse. To have a hot dog stand in the city of New York, it needs to be taken away because they don't even meet the minimum requirements for safety when it comes to being charged with equine, charged with transportation, they call it. But the proof right there was this is the one that really put me over the edge. They let this man go, and she was gone. And it's amazing nobody could have heard any worse. Point where you have the passengers jumping out of the carriage for their own safety. Go so far as to save for their lives because I've known many people who have gotten hurt badly and worse. Riding a horse, behind a horse, working with a horse. If you're not on point, paying attention, know what you're doing, no business.
So for all those reasons and more, this is exactly why the only sane solution that will protect the public, protect these animals that have been neglected and abused, is for Adrienne Adams to get out of the way, stop blocking Ryder's Law Intro 967. This is what the people want. This is what the Conservancy wants. It must happen. We need to get this done this year because we don't want to gamble with more lives. Every day those carriages are out there is a day that a horse can scoop and run wild, and this time someone won't be able to get out of the way quickly enough, and they will be trampled. And when you're trampled by a 2,000-pound horse carrying a very heavy carriage, you will be seriously injured and potentially killed. And there's no reason to have that kind of reckless violence on our streets every day. It's because of political corruption, and New Yorkers have had enough. We are getting flooded with messages, not just from New Yorkers, people all over the world, who are at the point where they're saying they're not coming to New York City as a tourist. They don't want to spend their money here and support a city that's allowing this kind of cruelty and public danger. They don't want to come here. So I think it's negatively impacting tourism and negatively impacting our position around the world for allowing this to happen. So if anyone has, I explained it a little. We kind of just want to keep the focus on Adrienne Adams, but absolutely, John Samuelson of Transport Workers Union. It's shameful, unethical behavior on his part and on the part of Transport Workers Union for lobbying against this legislation. The Transport Workers Union doesn't even care about the welfare of the carriage drivers. If they did, they wouldn't be blocking legislation like this that would protect everyone and provide better, safer, better paying jobs, jobs that don't put them in danger. That's what we want for everyone. We care about the people and we care about the horses both. And that's why this legislation really covers everything. It really is a common sense bill. So, any other questions? All right, I think from media, we're just gonna, that was great, thank you for that. Is this your bag? Oh, it's your bag. All right, this is teamwork. That's great. It is good teamwork. We're just gonna, if everybody could still just stay out here because there's still a lot of council members and their staff walking right in. I want to make sure that they all see us.
All right,
see our
we're gonna wrap this up.
let you know if I see
I got a
any
couple
other
interviews to do. It's all about continuing to keep the pressure on. That's all it is. And we need this one council member, the speaker of the council, to allow a hearing. That's the only thing blocking this right now from going forward. Catch you all later.
Everybody scrunch in for the group photo. Get in for the photo.